since it's midweek, I got 3 things, kind of a roundup. Does that make sense? And these aren't the greatest things, but they're pretty good. If I'm saying them, you should listen to them. First, the most watched championship game since 2018 was the SEC championship game, Alabama, Georgia. Now, here's what always fascinates me about this. I would have thought that that's the most watched game maybe ever. No, I'm serious here. Georgia got all kind of pub. Georgia's by Atlanta, big city. Alabama, national appeal. I mean, who else in the SEC has more appeal right now than those 2 teams? You say, well, they're not big markets. Well, they're the entire South. Literally every television in Birmingham had it on to the Alabama-Georgia game. That's just the way Birmingham rolls. When you look at all of the ratings of college football, the number 1 city, and it really isn't close, that watches college football is Birmingham. No, it's a true story. It really is. I'm surprised. I really am. I'm surprised that this isn't the number 1 watched championship game ever. Seriously, on championship weekend. I'm not talking about national championship. I mean, this had everything you want. Think about it. Upstart team in Georgia. Now, Georgia, not the most, when I look at it, I've never stopped, other than 1980, to watch Herschel Walker. I've never stopped in my tracks and said, oh, God, I got to watch Georgia. Man, they're interesting. Jake Fromm, his mom. What? Nope, I didn't say that. Delete. Jake Fromm was fun to watch. No one ever said that. Ever. Never. Nothing interesting about Georgia. Man, I love watching Sony Michel. The only interesting thing about Georgia was when Mark Richt and Urban Meyer would go back and forth, and the next thing you know, Urban scoring an extra touchdown, they're celebrating. Georgia scores one time, beats Urban Meyer for the first time in their history, and they're jumping up and down, standing on their head and crapping snowballs. That's it. I mean, let's be honest. You've never wanted to watch Georgia in anything. I love Tom Crean. But ever since Dominique Wilkins was at Georgia, tell me something interesting about Georgia. Christ, they've got, what's that kid's name? He's going to be the rookie of the year in the NBA. They didn't make the tournament. Nobody wants to watch him when they had that kid. Nuh-uh. Georgia, uninteresting. However, this year, Georgia, interesting. Nick Saban was getting his brains beat out. Everybody's whining about the Auburn running back that didn't fall down. I go the other way. I think the Auburn running back understood if I get a first down here, it's over. That's why he stayed on his feet. Got knocked out of bounds. Gave Nick Saban a chance at a national championship. But I digress. That game should have been number 1. The Big Ten championship game, you got the thick ankles of Iowa taking on Michigan. There was intrigue there, but that's kind of just today and every day and every week in the Big Ten championship game. There's always a team from the West that stinks. I don't care if it's Wisconsin, it's Iowa, it's Northwestern. They stink. That's it. All right. Kayvon Thibodeaux opted out of the bowl for Oregon. He opted out of Oregon as well. Now, that's not news. I mean, Thibodeau's probably going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, or if he's not, he's going to be around the number 1 pick in the draft. You know what I mean by it? Like his name, 1, 2, 3, whatever it's going to be. You go to the combine, you interview. If the team with the number 1 pick likes you, then you're going to be the number 1 pick, right? If they don't, then they don't. Okay, fine. He's that kind of talent. I don't blame him for opting out. I've gone to the point where I don't even care. Like so many people get so emotional over this stuff. Well, you got to play with your team in the bowl. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Here's what I care about bowl games. I care that I win the Steve Kleinman pool. I care that I win my brother's wife's brother, my sister-in-law's brother's pool. Because everybody talks smack in it. And it's one of those pools where you take, what do you call it, where the number 1 game you think is going to win, you make it 40 and you whatever, it's a number pool. I won it one year, like 100 people in it. I want to win it again. 2 reasons. Number 1, I want to talk some smack. Number 2, I like the cash. I'm big on the cash. Give me the cash. So that's all I care about with the bowls. 2 hints real quick on the bowls. Don't make your picks on the bowls until the absolute deadline of your pool because you don't know who's going to play. Second thing, Historically, maybe not with Louisiana this year, but historically, teams without coaches get their ass beat. Teams who coaches, went somewhere. And all of a sudden, the new coach is in there like that guy at LSU. He's great, but they usually get their ass kicked in a bowl when they're playing with an interim coach. Just things to live by. But look, long story short, my question isn't about Thibodeaux. Smart, good for him, or Thibodeaux, however you say his name. My question is who else? The Pickett kid at Pittsburgh. I don't know if he's going to be 1, 2, 10, 20. I don't know. But are you going to play in a bowl if you're him? Now, Bryce Young got to play in a bowl, obviously. C.J. Stroud, it's the Rose Bowl. You got to understand, in the Midwest, the Rose Bowl is big. And C.J. Stroud's coming back. So he's going to play in it. I don't know. The Michigan kid Hutchinson, I'm just going with the finalists. I don't know. He's got to play. Hell, you're playing for a national championship, and those guys are going to play. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about how many guys this year are going to Jalen Smith it. Remember Jalen Smith? Jalen Smith's kid literally 4 miles away from where I'm sitting right here. He went to Cathedral High School. Great player at Notre Dame. Played in the bowl game. Selfless. Tore up his knee, missed a year. Still got paid, but eventually his career right now is kind of in the toilet, and I don't know if it's because of the injury he suffered, horrific injury. So if I'm the dad, and this is how I look at things, if I'm the dad of a player, and he asks me, and he's going to be a first-round pick, you know what I got to do? I got to go to the beard. I might actually go to the beard, put on some shades, and do like Alec Baldwin in 30 Rock, grab a glass of scotch and stare out a window. That's some real thinking right there. When you put the shades on, you go to the beard, you got a glass of scotch, and you look out a window, that's when you're doing some gazindas. That's when you're doing some figuring, period. I would have to do that because I'm torn between, the old, these are my brothers. You hear football players say that all the time. These are my brothers. I got to go to war with my brother. Okay. Yeah. All right. I get it. But, man, we all know one adage. We all know it. Money talks. You can add the bullshit walks on it, but money talks. And if I were a father, I would sit down, have an idea. I am a father, but not of an NFL player. I would sit down, show them the finances of it, be real on every area, be real on legacy to school, legacy with teammates, how you're perceived with your fans, not the school, not the team, but your fans out there. And then I would show them the financial implications. And here's the deal. Just because you play in a football game doesn't mean you're going to get hurt. You understand what I'm saying? The potential for getting hurt is greater, obviously, playing than not playing. But I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you're on a team. Now think about this. You're on a team all year. You're obviously good enough because you're a first-round pick. All right? You say no, but you hang around the team. I'm not playing, but you hang around the team. Now, I got to tell you, this is why I'll never coach again, because no one will ever hire me. If the guy said no, I'm not playing, he ain't hanging around my team. Nice to see you. I'm helping you in any way, but out. Because everybody else on that team every day gets reminded that their best player quit on them, fairly or unfairly. I get it. People are going to come at me for saying that. I don't care. But that's what I would do as a coach. I know it's bad business. I know other recruits will hear about it. But I got to tell you, I got to stand up for my peeps that are actually going and playing in the game. I do. You're going to see this all the time. You're going to see at whatever U has a guy that's opting out. He's going to be on the sidelines. He's going to have his jersey on over his shirt, or if it's cold, his jacket, whatever it's going to be. And the team's going to act like it's no big deal. Well, to me, it is a big deal. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I'm trying to win every game that I play. And one thing I don't need is our best player being an example of not playing. Here's another hint for you coaches. Don't ever bring coffee into a frickin' practice. Like you walk in, you got a cup of coffee. You know what that tells everybody at that practice? That you're just laid back and relaxed. Tubby Smith was at Minnesota. Mike Tirico and I are sitting there. Tubby's 2 assistants came onto the court ready to work players out, each carrying a cup of coffee. I looked at Tariq. I said, Mike, they're going to get fired here in a year. What are you talking about? You never bring coffee on the court. What does that have to do with it? It means that the players know that the coach isn't serious about working. So they're not going to get better because they won't respect the. I'm just telling you. A year later, I don't know if I know much, but I know sports, and I know that kind of crap. I do. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely do. I know it. I do. I got to get my phone because I want to see how many of you are on YouTube or on watching. Not enough. Go get your friends. It's not enough. We need more people here on our Outkick Twitter feed. We do. So go tell your friends right now. I'll give you a second. You can tweet me at Dan Dakich, by the way. All right. Last thing on this midweek deal. What the hell's going on with you woke folk out there? I mean, first Bill Maher loses his mind and all of a sudden starts thinking both ways. Like, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal, but think for your damn self. Holy snarkies. I mean, think for yourself, people. And guess what? All of a sudden, Bill Maher did. What? Bill Maher just used common sense. Wasn't like Bill Maher all of a sudden said, hey, everybody go conservative. Wasn't like Bill Maher said, hey, Trump was right. He didn't say any of that. He just started talking like a normal human being. What's up with that? And did I see this right? What's that guy's name from CNN? Jake Tapper? Jake Tapper actually? Did he actually denounce Hollywood? What? Did he actually denounce the NBA? So eager for Chinese cash? Jake Tapper said? Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and the NBA on blast during CNN's State of the Union. I'm looking at Jack Tapper, whatever the hell this guy's name is. I'm looking at him. What is going on with you woke folk? This is amazing. Tapper called on American businesses to follow the example of the Women's Tennis Association with canceled events he was scheduled to hold in China after tennis player Peng Shuai accused former Vice Premier Zhang Gai of sexually assaulting her. Listen to this. I told you this a week ago, that the Women's Tennis Association opened the doors for all the woke folk. You get stuck in your stupid ass ways, whether it's woke or to conserve, whatever. But when someone opens a door, a lot of people are now walking through it. I told you this a week ago, that the Women's Tennis Association doing this is going to allow the clowns that run the NBA and other businesses to denounce China because they've got cover. They're too gutless and money hungry to do it on their own. But all of a sudden, the Women's Tennis Association, who'd have thunk it? The big bad boys at CNN, following the lead of the Women's Tennis Association. I guarantee you those nerds on CNN couldn't tell you 2 women tennis players that aren't named Serena Williams. I'll bet your ass if you put those nerds on a tennis court, they would trip over their own shoelaces. And somebody would have to tell them, look, Jack, whatever the hell your name is, Donnie Lemon, baby, get the jockstrap. It doesn't go over your nose. That's what they would have to do. The millionaires and billionaires of Hollywood and the NBA and the IOC and Wall Street are so eager for Chinese cash, they're pretending none of this happened. There is no amount of money that can buy enough soap to wash that blood off their hands. Really? People have been saying that for years, Jake Tapper. What all of a sudden made you and the big boys at CNN decide that you could actually spew this on your television? The Women's Tennis Association. Like, I am cast, if you look me up, as a misogynist, but I am the biggest supporter of women ever. I'd rather hang with women than men. I'd rather listen to women than men. Look, I'm not going to tell you I'd rather watch a WNBA game than an NBA game, but I respect the hell out of the WNBA. I'd rather watch a college softball game than a college baseball game. That's for damn sure. But all of a sudden, people are starting to wake up. Women are smart. Really? You just figuring that out, Jake Tapper? Wait, the Women's Tennis Association gave me the cover I need to not be a douchebag. But all of a sudden, now China's bad. I'm not going to do this because I don't care enough, but I would be curious to see CNN's reaction to a couple years ago when Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey he did put out a tweet saying he stands with Hong Kong. That's basically what he said. I guarantee you Jack Tapper or Jake Tapper and little Donnie Lemon had no response to that denouncing China. The Chinese government and the Chinese leaders have not all of a sudden, out of the blue, started doing human rights violations, slavery, killing people, innocent people. But we, here in the United States, because of money and greed, never talked about it until Daryl Morey and now Enes Kanter freedom. Wow. The Women's Tennis Association opened the doors for CNN. Wow. Will Facebook be next? Will Twitter be next? Will TikTok be next? I'm not betting on the NBA. The NBA is going to do it, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to do it before May. Maybe before June, somewhere in there. What is going on with the woke folks?